Hi, I'm James with Grains and Taps Homebrew Supply Store. Today I'm going to be talking about the pen lock keg system. Now if you're like me and you've never used a keg system before, they can seem a bit daunting. But really, once you get to know more about the kegs and how they work, it's a very simple process. So starting from the top and working our way down, there are really 8 pieces and parts that go into the keg. Now each piece and part has a different piece and part that goes to it, but I'll be explaining those as we go along. On top of the keg, we have the post and the lid. You have 2 different posts. You have an intake post and an outflow post. The intake post is where you pump your CO2 into the keg and builds pressure. The outflow post is where the beer flows out of. Now if you notice, there are little pins on each post. And to use those pins, you have to have special attachments and parts. An important note is that your intake post will always have 2 pins on it, and your outflow post will always have 3 pins. There's a special socket wrench with little notches in it, so you can affix it to your post, and that's how you lock it into place. So that's why it's called a pin lock keg system. Since there's pins on the post, you also have to have attachments that match up with the post. So each attachment will also have notches in the side, and you push down and you lock it into place using the pin lock keg system. Like how you can tell the difference between your posts based off of how many pins they have, you can tell the difference between your pin lock connectors based off the color. The gray is for your gas or your intake post, and the black is for your liquid or your outflow post. Now if you look closely, there are O-rings on each post as well. They're designed to prevent any leakage that may occur during your kegging process. So most of the time, if you do experience leakage, it's going to be with one of your O-rings in the keg system. There's several more, so I'll make sure to explain those as well. Inside each post, there's a little poppet. Look at that little poppet. Attached to the post, there's also dip tubes. On the intake side, where you pump your CO2 in, it's just a short little guy, and it also has an O-ring to prevent leakage. So it's short because when you're pressurizing your keg, you're forcing CO2 down into the keg, which then forces the liquid to rise up through the outflow dip tube. The outflow dip tube, you'll see, is a big old long boy. So this reaches all the way to the bottom of your keg, where your liquid is then pumped up through and flows out of the keg. Also up top, you have the lid to the keg. So the keg lid is designed to just clamp into place, and it will hold pressure. To help hold that pressure, there's another O-ring. So again, if you experience any leaking, it's probably going to be on one of your O-rings. Also on the lid, there's a pressure release valve. If too much pressure builds up in your keg, this is designed to open up and relieve some of that pressure. Now inside the keg, it's just a hollow body, waiting to be filled with your delicious brew. I recommend when you get a new keg or a used keg that you completely disassemble the keg and clean every piece and part of it. When you reassemble your keg system, we also recommend that you use a food-grade lubricant on your O-rings. This helps prevent wear and tear on the O-rings themselves, and it also helps enhance the seal, so it's nice and tight. So again, that was the pin lock keg system. Really, there's only 8 parts. You have your posts, your poppets, your dip tubes, your lid, and the keg itself. I hope this video is informative. I know learning about the keg system relieved some pressure about my worries about using a keg system in the future. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.